From the campus of Williamstown High School in Williamstown, New Jersey, the Gloucester County Educational Network presents South Jersey High School football. Tonight, it's the Hammonton Blue Devils visiting the Williamstown Braves. Hello, everyone. Rob Christ along with my partner, Mike Shute, and here on a beautiful evening for high school football. Group 5 versus Group 4, no doubt the game of the week, a game that both of these schools have been looking forward to all year long. Hammonton comes into this game red hot off of a 34-0 pasting over Delsea last week. Williamstown, they had a misstep at the beginning of the year losing to Cherokee. They've been red hot ever since. These are two teams heading in the right direction with two fantastic coaches. First, let's talk a little bit about the Hammonton Blue Devils. 2 shutouts on the season. This is a school that has always prided itself on great defense. This year, no different.
Yeah, Coach Jim Rasso's got the team going in the direction he wants it, taking over for head coach Pete Lancetta, who was there for a long time. Jim played under Pete, 1995 graduate of Hammonton High School, so he certainly has a good feel for that tradition, Rob. And he says, look, we didn't have to change a lot of things. I like the way things work. It's been worked for a long time. Let's keep the pace, keep going, keep doing what we want to do. They've only allowed 69 points this season, Rob, the Hammonton defense. That's 9.9 points per game. And as you said, that big shutout last week over Delsea, a game that kind of has given this team a new outlook going forward. And we'll talk about that more as the game goes on.
Well, again, on the other side of the football, Williamstown with a tremendous offense. They love to pound the football on the ground. They have a history of fantastic runners, and this year no different.
Yeah, both teams really like to put it on the ground. They don't want to put the ball on the ground, but they like to keep the offense on the ground and the run game. Each team, nearly 2,000 yards of offense this season just on the ground, and they can pile up the yardage. Certainly, each team has full house backfield. You can see any number of guys carrying the football tonight, Rob.
Well, for Hammonton, let's talk a little bit about that offense that you mentioned. A guy that loves to run the ball, very effective defensively, but truly a master offensively. Third in scoring in South Jersey, that's Zach Barnard.
Yeah, Zach Barnard is a key player for this Hammonton offense. He is a guy that has put it in the end zone. He's among the South Jersey's leaders in scoring, and he's a key guy on that offense. He's got over almost 600 yards rushing, and he's just one of many guys that can make big plays.
You know, the key to any offense, of course, is your quarterback. And for Williamstown, Rich Stanzione certainly has been a key to their success. A guy that likes to run the ball, has been successful, and can manage well.
Yeah, Stanzione, he primarily, they want to keep the ball on the ground, like we said, both teams. He's their rushing leader for Williamstown, 517 yards, averaging 7.7 yards a carry, 8 touchdowns as well. So he's the guy that makes it go, but he can turn around and give it to anyone behind him, any one of the 3 running backs, all who have put up in the averages of 5 to 8 yards per carry. So you're talking about 2 offenses that like to run it, like to pound it, and the really onus is going to fall on the defense. Which team can make the big stops and shut down that other team's running game?
A lot on the line tonight. So many backstories. Jim Rasso used to actually play under Frank Fusatola, the head coach of Williamstown. Not only is there bragging rights for the team, but maybe between these 2 friendly rivals. Stick around. We'll have the kickoff for you in just a moment. Welcome back to Williamstown High School here in Monroe Township, New Jersey. A sizable crowd on hand for a good matchup tonight. Williamstown hosting Hammonton, 53 degrees and clear skies tonight. It may go down all the way into the 30s, so a crisp night, and we're certainly expecting some crisp football between 2 of the top 5 teams in South Jersey. Number 5, Williamstown, right there wearing their traditional royal and black, and they'll be going up against the Blue Devils of Hammonton, ranked number 2 in South Jersey, coming into tonight with a record of 7-0 off of a big win against Delsea. There you see the head coach of Williamstown, Frank Fusatola. He has done a tremendous job here at Williamstown, really turning around their fortunes. 6-1 this season, shut out by Cherokee in a game that was played in a downpour, and Hammonton coming in undefeated. Head coach Jim Rasso yet to taste defeat. Williamstown will be kicking it off. Their kicker, Kevin Gilmore, to start things here. And we're underway. Short kick, and a whistle blows. We may have to re-kick here.
Offsides on the kickoff. Someone a little anxious as we're getting ready to get things started here. That'll push him back 5 yards right off the bat.
So interesting, in high school football, offsides on the kickoff becomes a dead ball foul, and they simply move him back 5 yards. So offsides against Williamstown. This crowd is geeked up tonight, and it looks like the players on special teams no different. Special teams, an area that head coach Frank Fusatola said that we need to win the special teams battle. And right now, they're just a little bit out of sync.
When you've got two teams as evenly matched as these two, Rob, it's going to come down to one or two key aspects of the game. And yes, special teams is going to be very important tonight for both of these teams.
We mentioned at the top just how dominating the Hammonton defense has been. Well, Williamstown takes a backseat to no one, and we'll talk more about that. So the kick is underway, and it'll fall short about the 25, taken on one hop, and a big seam erupts, juking through the special teams down to the 46-yard line. Fine return by Victor Salas-Mays.
Brought down to the Braves by number 26.
Salas-Mays able to elude a couple tacklers. 6'2" junior, showing some nimbleness. And Williamstown with excellent field position.
And he doesn't get a chance to run the ball too much. He's a wide receiver. He's only had 5 catches this year, but a lot of big plays, 132 yards on those 5 catches for Salas-Mays.
And that's for a team that does not throw the football a tremendous amount. This Hammonton team loves to run the football. We'll see a lot of it. And again, there you see Salas-Mays in the backfield. First down and 10, 4 receiver set for Hammonton to start things. Pitch. It's to Salas-Mays, and he's slung down after a pickup of 4 or 5.
Really interesting to see Salas-Mays coming out of the backfield here, running the football for Hammonton. Well, like I said, wide receiver, 5 catches this year, 132 yards, 26.4 yards per reception, but not, frequently used as a running back.
Malachi Winters, your junior quarterback, 5'11". Winters had himself quite a day last week against Delsey. 65-yard TD run, 41-yard TD run, and a 27-yard touchdown pass against one of the best teams in all of South Jersey. And in large part, he makes this offense go. He'll hand it off right up the gut, pickup of about 3. And now there's a question as to who has possession of the football. They're going to mark it dead at about the 47-yard line of the Braves. So big third down here early. We talked before, Williamstown with a tremendous defense. They come into tonight with 3 shutouts against Pennsville, Clearview, and Cherry Hill East. They probably could have had 4. Gave up a garbage time touchdown against Eastern. Third down, hand up again, and he will not make it. He's, depending on the spot, should be a hair short. And we'll get a measurement on this. It looks like he got a good spot.
But I don't think good enough. Looks like he might be a tick short. But you talked about Williamstown's defense, Rob. Yeah, actually 4 shutouts. 4 of their last 5 games have been shutouts. Only giving up 7 points in those last 5 games. That's an average of a measly 1.4 points per game over that stretch. Meanwhile, the Hammonton offense.
And it is a first down, so beneficial spot there.
Yeah, it was very close, very close. It's just a matter of an inch or so.
We're level with the football as we speak here in the press box.
Hammonton's offense in the last 5 games, conversely, and we could talk about this a little bit more, but they've put up 217 points in over that same stretch. So both teams with strong defense and also some explosive offense.
Handoff, and not a whole lot there. So again, they have 3 shutouts on the year, Michael. They were shut out once. Their last, they gave up 20 points against Cherokee.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So second down, we'll call it 9 for Hammonton. And this is what you're going to see from both of these teams. A lot of carries on the ground tonight. And this is going to be a battle in the trenches. Lone setback. Malachi Winters sets up the screen. Across the middle, Solace Mays in the open. Across the 20, and finally cut down just shy of the 10-yard line.
So Solace Mays showing that penchant for making big plays. Another huge gain there. And again, 5 catches coming in, 132 yards, 26.4 yards per play. And he's going to get at least that and then some here as he took off from the 44. The ball's going to be spotted down about the 12, so picking up about 32 on that one.
Well, tremendous call by the offensive coordinator using the aggressiveness of Williamstown. And now Winters cuts it, bounces outside. They'll pick up about 4, and you see the athleticism of the quarterback, Malachi Winters.
Winters, 32 carries, 331 yards this season, 6 touchdowns. He averages over 10 yards a carry, and he has one 100-yard game this season. So certainly you're going to see a lot of movement on the ground today, but Williamstown mixing it up with that little toss to Solace Mays the play prior. Certainly not something either of these teams are known for, putting it in the air.
Second down, we'll call it 6. 2 backs now for Tally with Barnard behind Winters. We mentioned before the efficacy of Barnard. Play action pass. Winters has his man wide open, and it's caught. Touchdown. Fine throw, finding Josh Bevan, and Hammonton strikes first.
Bevan, the tight end, with his 2nd score of the season, his 5th catch this year. How about that? Hammonton puts it in the air 2 key times on this drive, and they jump out to a quick lead here right off the get-go.
Well, you know, of course, as soon as I said it's a team that likes to pound the football, 2 of their big plays coming off of the pass, 2 of the last 3 plays, in fact, and a successful drive of 54 yards culminates with the Bevan touchdown reception. On to attempt the point after is Riker. His kick is good. So a 54-yard drive. The key here, 2 passing plays, and one of the things that strikes you first off, Michael, is that Winters has illustrated that he has a strong arm and he's accurate.
Well, the first play was a simple little screen that you've got to, just hit the guy in stride. He did that. This play, Bevan's wide open in the corner. They weren't expecting that. And the thing both of these teams are going to see a lot tonight is both teams respect the other team's run so much that the play action is going to be huge, and that's what that last play was. Certainly play action allowed Bevans to get open in the far corner of the end zone there.
You have to like the creativity of the offensive coordinator of Hammonton. First of all, the screenplay drawing in that defense. You talked about the aggressiveness that Williamstown displays, and then once again biting on the play action pass. So credit the offensive coordinator there, coupled with Malachi Winters, who did a tremendous job orchestrating that drive. 54 yards. Things started off on the wrong foot with Williamstown jumping off sides on the kickoff, and now they'll look to counterpunch here as, again, Williamstown also with the tremendous arsenal of weapons. Riker's kick is deep, and it'll be taken after a bounce at about the 6-yard line. Got across the 15. Stretching it outside and finally brought down. Looks to be Armani Moore.
So Early on the return.
Actually, it was Joseph Early.
Early, the senior. You'll see a lot of him in the backfield tonight. And Williamstown uses a ton of different ball carriers. You're going to see Early, the senior. He's got 40 carries this year. You're going to see Eric Mercado, a junior, who's the fullback. He's got 70 carries this year. And you're going to see Tyreek Glenn, the junior, who has 39 carries on the season.
Well, if you were wondering whether these teams are evenly matched, there you have it. I mean, difference between points is negligible, and the offensive points per game almost identical. First down and 10. Stanzione keeps. He'll stretch it outside, and it looks like we're going to have a holding penalty already. So, again, we mentioned that the difference between these two teams is so minute, and Michael, it may be which team commits the fewest penalties.
Yeah, that's always going to be a factor as well. Special teams and penalties, and certainly Williamstown off to the start here, setting themselves back.
There you see our officials. Your referee in your picture now, Colin Whipke. Your ump is Bob Forright. Walt Levy, the line judge, Steve Colby, Brian Hatz, and George Golding rounding out your officials for tonight. So
Clock operators Ed Sadowski downstairs.
first down now, and a whole bunch, we'll call it 22, out of the shotgun. Stanzione keeps. Stanzione cuts it outside, and not a whole lot doing there. You see some of the speed and the pursuit of Hammonton. Fine play made by Salas Mays. He's been all over the field, and some help there from Sean Collins, another fine play.
I mentioned the running backs for Williamstown, who we're going to see a lot of action, but Stanzione has 67 carries himself and leads the team with 517 yards on the ground.
Second down, no gain. We'll call it 22. Stanzione hands off. And not much doing once again. Maybe a pickup of 2 or 3. And again, your ball carrier was Joseph Early. They're hoping to go Early and often. Early with 305 yards coming into tonight, an average of 7.8 yards on the ground, 3 rushing touchdowns. This is a backfield, as you mentioned, Michael, that likes to spread the wealth. Stanzione well over 500 yards, and Tyrick Glenn with 9 touchdowns and 377 yards coming into tonight. So a long third down here out of the shotgun. Stanzione throws it across the middle, overthrown and picked off. Picked off at the 41-yard line. And it's Malachi Winters. Winters trying to do it all himself, and he's in. Touchdown!
And Winters was just hanging out there, playing center field at safety. Was able to read the play and just stepped in. And then plenty of room on that far side of the field. The ball was snapped on the near side, along the near side hash mark. So there was a lot of open space on that far side of the field. And Hammonton, just like last week, stunning Delsey early and winning 34-0. Already off to a 2-score lead here. And we're less than midway through the first quarter.
You can see the whole play develop here. You know, Stanzione, a little bit too much air underneath the football. Malachi Winters with, you know, give him credit for being in the right place at the right time, but an easy interception. And then it was off to the races. Winters, so athletic, got some key blocks along the way and found the end zone. Winters typically doing it on offense, here on defense as well. Riker's kick is up, and Riker's kick is good. It's 14-0. Here's the interception.
And Winters is not in your picture to start it off, but you're going to see. He's hanging out there, and the ball's overthrown, and then watch him find his way to that far side of the field where there's some space and some room to roam. He gets a little block there from Salas Mays, number 7, and that helps spring him into the end zone.
We mentioned last week, Winters, 2 rushing touchdowns, a throwing touchdown against a very good Delsey team. He's already made his imprint here with a passing touchdown, 12 yards to Bevan, and this 42-yard interception return. This Williamstown team and fans certainly have to be stunned. And, you know, Williamstown, obviously a very, very talented team, but you're facing a team in Hammonton that has a vaunted defense, scoring, you know, 3 times, 2 of which must be touchdowns at this point just to win the game. They've certainly created an uphill climb for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, the last 2 games for Hammonton, they've only given up 3 points in that stretch. So there's certainly defense is getting it done, and you're not, you know, the one game, a shutout of Delsey that came out of, you know, nowhere. Cleary was able to put up 21 points against them, but a lot of that, I think, was a little bit later in the stages when it was kind of already out of hand.
Riker's kick taken at the 5-yard line. Across the 20, a lot of space here, and down to about the 30. A quality return for Williamstown, as Williamstown's Onani Moore this time was the returner. 6:13 left. Not how we would have expected things, Michael.
No, certainly not. I mean, it's as stunning to us, I think, as it would be to the folks sitting down below us, the Williamstown fans.
We talked about penalties being an issue. That holding penalty forced Stanzione into passing, and again, their strength is keeping the ball on the ground. Stanzione will hand it off, a little inside sweep, and about a gain of 4 yards. And again, you see some of the talented backs as Tyrick Glenn really kind of the guy that brings it every single week. Very intense, maybe an even better defensive player than he is offensively.
Yeah, we'll see him a lot on defense as well once Williamstown's defense kind of gets out there again. But he's a guy that does it on both sides of the ball for Coach Frank Fusatola.
Second down, and Stanzione kicks it outside. Not a whole lot there, and of course Malachi Winters there to answer the call.
Well, quarterback there for both sides. Of course, Winters playing safety defensively, but the two quarterbacks wear number 1 for each of these two teams.
So a gain of about 2. We'll call it a 3rd down and 3, and you kind of get a sense, Michael, they need a first down here.
Yeah, I think that certainly would be pretty helpful here for Williamstown, no question.
Right now have to be questioning their own sense of confidence, and Hammonton has stepped up defensively. 3rd down, handoff inside, bouncing off one tackler, cuts it back inside. What a tremendous effort. Leaning forward, that'll be enough for a first down. And again, Williamstown desperately in need of a first down. And if you're Williamstown, you go to Tyrick Glenn, a guy who likes to lay out the wood.
And a guy that usually makes those plays in the backfield there is number 64, Miles Sampson, the defensive tackle, a senior, 6'5", 280. Has 14 total tackles. He's played in 4 games this season for the Blue Devils defense. And usually he's one to make that play and shut that down, but Glenn able to slip the tackle.
Glenn in motion, and again another penalty here. This looks like it's going to go against Williamstown, and that would be their 3rd penalty already. That'll bounce them back 5 yards. And a procedure penalty. Michael, when you have a team that is so reliant on running the football, penalties even kill you a little bit more.
Well, yeah, because you can't have yourself in those 3rd and long situations when you're pressed into a situation where you're doing something you're not comfortable doing and do frequently, and that's passing the football.
Inside handoff, juking through the secondary, and one tackle away from taking it to the house. Credit Sean Collins with a nice tackle. And again, you see that Williamstown with so many weapons. Again, Joseph Early this time.
Little stutter step move, and he's against the grain a bit, and a big pickup there. And Williamstown continues to move the football.
Tyrick Glenn lines up behind Stanzione. 3 receiver set. Out of the shotgun, it's Glenn. Glenn slips. No gain. Again, you can see just some of the ability of both of these runners on Williamstown. Kind of Barry Sanders-like in their juking and athleticism. And misstep here on the turf results in no gain. 3rd down, and we'll see if they continue to try to work the ground game. Stanzione again out of the shotgun, sandwiched. Now it's going to be in motion. Pitch outside, across the 50, riding on his back is Collins, but not before a big pickup for Williamstown. And again, we mentioned they're going to go often and early because that's big Joseph Early.
And you'll see him just get it out and kick it outside there. Blockers along the way. And the thing about this offense with Williamstown, all these guys in the backfield here, you see them 6'4", 44, all running backs, but they'll all block for each other and kind of help pave the way. And you see that strength comes all to the same side. Here you go.
And Glenn with the end around, and he'll be ridden out of bounds.
Left guard for Williamstown, number 75 there. You see him, you just saw him on your screen a second ago. That's a Dylan Daisy, a junior. He's 6'1", 230. He kicked out from, he's left guard. So he kicked out from that left side and came around and kind of led the way that time.
2nd down. And a fumble. It's loose. And it looks like Williamstown is fortunate to fall on the football. A little miscommunication on the exchange. Bring up a 3rd down.
Eric Mercado lost the handle but was able to fall right on it. That ball, that odd shape, sometimes it takes a fortuitous bounce, and it did for Mercado here. He just kind of got it a little high, and it dropped right out of his hands.
Third down. Stanzione will hand off right up the gut. A lot of room through the secondary. On his way. Touchdown. Early.
Fourth touchdown of the season for Joe Early, and another big play, as Williamstown's accustomed to doing. Early averages 8.6 yards per carry coming into tonight, and that's certainly another big strike for him.
Well, that's just what the doctor ordered. And again, you go back to that key third down where Tyrick Glenn was able to shake off a tackle and extend that drive.
Number 13, number 18,
Williamstown fumbles the snap. They're going to be able to stretch it out and go in. Yes! 2-point conversion. So out of the ashes comes success. Here you see the handoff on the touchdown.
And he didn't need a lot of space. He had a small little hole there right at the line of scrimmage, and he was able to break through for the score.
Well, that could be a key play here. Williamstown now trailing just by 6 points. It's a fumbled snap, and the holder with the wherewithal to keep it and run it.
I think that's Bobby DeCourcy, number 10, the holder there, that was able to scoop it up and take off and run with it.
DeCourcy, typically a split end. There you see, coming into tonight's game, rushing yards per carry and how many rushing touchdowns. Again, so many of these stats tonight so even.
Yeah, and impressive. I mean, 7.7 yards a carry. Come on, 7.2. Combined for 65 rushing touchdowns, and they've played what? Williamstown 7 games, Hammonton 7 games. It's ridiculous.
And we see it. I mean, these are two outstanding defenses, Michael, and yet the offense has been able to flex their muscle for each team. Minute 59 remaining in this first quarter. Getting directions from the sidelines as to how they want to kick it. It's going to be a little pooch, a high bouncer taken at the 30-yard line, and he'll be cut down immediately. Gain of about 4 yards on the return. It looked like Hammonton's Zach Barnard on the return. Barnard, again, we talk about him and his talent. He's someone that Coach Jim Rasso spoke glowingly about. Said he's kind of a guy who's physical, he's fast, but tremendous student, intelligent, and someone who's already getting looks at the next level. West Point very interested in him.
Yeah, and even more interesting is the kid's only played football in high school. He's only played football since his freshman year of high school. So he's a fresh, kind of fresh-faced youngster, if you will, in terms of football experience.
Handoff inside, pick up about 5 or 6. And Williamstown still successful in running the football. There you see Mitch Vitale and a Barnard getting back to him. He was a soccer player up until his freshman year and switched over to football, and the Blue Devils are all the better for it.
Yeah, not a bad decision considering he's 3rd in South Jersey in total touchdowns this season with 14. Averages 6.4 yards a carry. Had 100 carries exactly coming into tonight with 635 yards. Of course, Vitale had that last play. He averages 9.8 yards a pop.
And an inside handoff will pick up about 2 or 3 yards to a key third down. Tripped up on the play. Third down at Hammonton has been perfect thus far on third down. And now it's going to be about a yard to go. As you see, the clock continues to move. We're happy to be here at Williamstown High School, your Atlantic City Electric Game of the Week, and it's a good one. Hammonton ranked number 2 by the Philadelphia Inquirer, and Williamstown ranked number 5. Handoff inside, and this is going to depend on the spot.
You mentioned rankings, Rob. Both these two teams ranked in the state rankings as well. Williamstown number 15 in the Gridiron, New Jersey, top 20.
I tell you what, again, we talked about that during the first drive, Michael. What a spot that Hammonton received on that play. He looked like he was short of the first down, and they spotted the ball a good 3 feet, maybe 2 feet past the first down mark. First down and 10. Hammonton benefiting from the generous spot. And we have some movement. So it looked like it was Josh Bevan who jumped. Now, this is the first penalty tonight against Hammonton. That'll back him up and make it a first down and 15. 10 seconds and change remaining here. You take a look, and Bevan's just a little anxious. You know what's funny is after the snap, then, you know, whenever the player moves early after the snap, then they don't move at all.
But there was a little bit of a flinch on the defense, too, that kind of, you saw it. The second guy down the line there had made a little move, and it forced Bevins into making a move. He saw it out of the corner of his eye, I think, and said, oh, time to react. And it happens.
And that'll do it for the first quarter. They reset the clock, and we'll step away. Hammonton jumped out early with a pair of touchdowns, but Williamstown has answered. We head to the break. The Blue Devils by 6. Welcome back to Williamstown High School. Start the second quarter, and Hammonton will start first down and 15 from their own 41-yard line. Right up the middle, it's Barnard. And he'll pick up about 7.
Bernard with 2 100-yard games this season for the Blue Devils. And I was mentioning those state rankings. Hammonton number 9 in the Gridiron New Jersey top 10. And I was saying Williamstown is number 15. So certainly this is a game that people across the, not just South Jersey, but across the state are certainly eyeballing to get a good look at these two teams.
Second down, about 8. Gain of 7 on the last running play. Winters hands it up. Barnard right up the middle, and he'll be very close to the first down. He'll be about a yard shy.
The thing that's really interesting to me about these two teams, particularly Hammonton, their offensive line makes some holes and lets these guys operate. But you're not talking about huge guys. Left tackle Jonathan Vegas, 5'11", 205, number 78. The left guard, you're going to see them opening some holes there for Bernard. Christopher Matro is 5'10", 180. He's the left guard. I'll get to the other guys across the front in a moment.
Third down and 1. Winters hands off to Bernard, and he'll have enough for the first down, so the drive will continue.
Your center for Hammonton, Idel Lara Medina, 5'11", 210. Your right guard is Jacob Oram, 5'9", 185. And then you're talking about some big beef with Miles Sampson, 6'5", 280. But he's the only guy that's particularly huge. The rest of the guys, not that big on that offensive line. There you see 64 Sampson right there as he dwarfs everybody else around him. But those guys have combined to help Hammonton put up over 1,800 yards rushing this season in their 7 games.
First down, the handoff, Bernard again, just kind of plowing into that Williamstown defense. One of the keys that Coach Schrasso said is that, we have to control the line. And that's what you're talking about, Michael.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. And that's what I find most interesting is that they do it week in and week out with, guys that aren't particularly huge. And they're doing it against Group 4 and Group 5 teams, not against, your smaller schools.
Ironically, defensively, he said we cannot give up the big play, and that's exactly what they did. It's 14-8 now. Second down. And Winters angles outside. They'll be knocked out of bounds, shy of the first down.
But look what Hammonton's done. They first down, 5 yards. Second down, 3-4 yards. So you're putting yourself in third and short all the time. And when your team averages 7.7 yards a carry, it's not a big problem.
Hammonton coming off that big win over Delsey, 34-0, and a lot of times you're just kind of setting yourself for a letdown because everybody expected Delsey to come away victorious, but they have stepped up. And speaking of guys stepping up, Bernard still on his feet, and the ball is loose, rolled down. But again, another pickup for Bernard and this Hammonton offense.
Yeah, I talked to Coach Rasso about that Delsey game. He said they had a great week of practice this week, but the biggest thing is that after that huge win against Delsey, they came in the next day and watched the film, and they talked to the kids, and they said, look, guys, it's not going to get any easier. The rest of our games are tough. You got Williamstown. I think they have Timber Creek next week, so it doesn't get any easier for the Blue Devils.
1st and 10, Bernard once again. In fact, you mentioned that scheduled probably the 3 toughest weeks for any team in South Jersey. Last week, Delsey. This week, Williamstown, and then Timber Creek. I don't think there's a team in South Jersey who's had a tougher stretch. 2nd down. We'll call it 7. Approaching 9 minutes remaining in this first half. Hammonton, just such a rich tradition, and always seemingly having a tremendous defense. And now on offense, many different weapons. Malachi Winters has certainly displayed that tonight. And again, the handoff to Bernard. He will try to push forward, and he'll be shy of the first down by 2 or 3 yards. So kind of a methodical drive here, Michael, wearing down this Williamstown defense. And again, kind of spotlighting the line of Hammonton as you spoke about.
Yeah, that's how they operate. I mean, run the ball, just out physical the opponent.
You can't downplay the many weapons. You have to play honest. You have to respect the abilities of Winters and know that Barnard is going to get his share of yards, and that's certainly been the formula tonight. 3rd down, about 4. Bernard through the tackles, pushes forward, and again, it's going to be very close to a first down depending on the spot.
Yeah, tough to tell from our angle up here exactly where they.
Looks like they're going to say he's short.
Yeah.
4th down and inches. Now, Hammonton has an excellent field goal kicker in John Riker, but they look like they're not going to hesitate. They are going to go for it here.
Riker is tied for 5th in South Jersey in field goals made this year with 3, along with 37. And Coach Rasso is not afraid to use them from 40.
4th and 1. Winters hands to Bernard, and he should have enough for the first down. He does. So the drive continues in large part due to the efforts of Bernard.
Rob, you mentioned the win against Delsey. Last year, Hammonton lost to Delsey and then lost to Williamstown. So this year, the team's kind of trying to look at this as, what did we learn from last year? How can we fix it? They did it against Delsey. Now they're trying to do it again tonight.
Handoff to Talley, and he'll be inside the 5-yard line.
Coach Rasso said, last year Williamstown dominated us in that matchup. And it was the week after they played Delsey, and he said they didn't recover from losing to Delsey. So this year, it's in his team's mindset, that, look, we know what happened last year, and we've already fixed the problems with Delsey. We beat them. We've got to change that mindset this year and dominate on the other side of the ball.
Saw Vitale running the ball. He's not someone that gets the ball a whole lot, but someone that Coach Rasso really likes. Runs between the tackles. Bernard stretching forward, and he will be repelled at about the 1-yard line.
There's Jim Rasso, the head coach of Hammonton, in his first season and off to a 7-0 start. Rasso was a defensive coordinator under former head coach Pete Lancetta. Lancetta retired after last season with a 215, 65, and 2 mark, and was number 6 among active coaches in South Jersey last year with those 216 career wins.
Rasso played with Fusatola's son on that 93 championship team for Hammonton under Lancetta. Winters handoff inside, pushing forward, and no indication thus far. Looks like he's going to come up short. So it's going to bring up a critical 4th down here as Bernard just nowhere to run.
That close, though. Now you think a team that can get 7.7 yards a carry can get 7 inches here. We'll see what Hammonton can come up with.
Steal on steal.
More importantly, we'll see what Williamstown come up with if they can dig down deep here and get a stop, because that would be huge.
And there's someone down in the end zone. There you see the Williamstown player. That looks to be Mike Bryan. a junior linebacker, 5'9", 185 pounds, and did not see what had happened to Brian, whether he was a part of the tackle or maybe coming up hopefully with just a cramp, something minor. Williamstown again with a vaunted defense, and one of the things that this Williamstown team has is depth.
Yeah, that is certainly the case. I mean, a Group 5 school, you're going to have a lot of players ready to go, and yeah, depth is not a problem. When you talk about the depth they have on offense, Rob, you know, looking at their statistics, they've got like 12 different guys that have carried the football this year.
And it looks like Brian's going to be okay. It looks like favoring his left shoulder. And hopefully we'll have an opportunity to see Mike Bryan come back in this football game. But 4th down and 1, 5:08 remaining. And this play may have a big say in as to what the outcome of tonight's game will be. Restart the clock. What do you think? Winters or Bernard here?
If I'm Hammonton, I'm going quarterback.
Bernard up the middle, touchdown. Well, Michael, you have to credit that offensive line. What a tremendous surge for the Blue Devils, and Bernard had it easy.
You know what, though? Bernard's not a small guy. 6'3", 215. He can make his own way when he has to. Not that he needed to that time, but he certainly can. And, you know, he got some space on the right side. Miles Sampson, Jacob Orem over there leading the way.
So Reichert has been perfect tonight. He will attempt the point after. The holder is Mitch Vitale. Reichert's kick is good.
And with 3 tonight, Riker now 32 for 34 on the season on extra points. I'll take that.
Well, 3 different touchdown scores for Hammonton. Bevan, Winters, and Bernard, 2 of which came offensively. Winters was a 42-yard touchdown return. And Williamstown will have 4 minutes and 54 seconds to answer. There you see that tremendous thrust by the offensive line of Hammonton.
You saw 79, Jacob Orem in there, plowing the way, pushing back some guys. But again, they're not big guys. I mean, that's what impresses me the most. I mean, you know, and Hammonton's always been known for that running game. I mean, going back to Pete Lancetta's 20 or so years that he was there, you know, full house backfield. They run that traditional wing tee. And, you know, Coach Rasso, he took over for Lancetta. He played under Lancetta. It's his 16th year on the staff, so he played under him, coached with him. He teaches at Hammonton. He's a 95 Hammonton graduate. I mean, you know, he just said that there's no reason why change anything. It's been working all these years. Let's just continue it, and maybe we can tweak some things here and there.
Earlier, we had a shot of Frank Fusatola there. Fusatola is a resident of Hammonton, Coach Rasso in the youth organization, and you know, Fusatola would love to walk around the town of Hammonton and say that we came out on top. Ball is kicked into the end zone. Again, we mentioned one of the many weapons that Hammonton has is that right leg of Riker. As ball caught by Anani Moore, he cannot return it, so they will take over at the 20-yard line. 80 yards to go to answer back. Right now, it is Hammonton on top by 13.
Yeah, Fusatola coached the Hammonton Hawks back there, midget football action. Rasso played for them. Fusatola also coached at St. Augustine for a while before taking over here at Williamstown. So he's certainly well-traveled. And, you know, Coach Rasso said that, you know, we know them, he knows us. It's just one of those games where there's a lot of familiarity. And obviously we saw some statistics that bear it out. There's also a lot of similarity.
Out of the shotgun. 1st down and 10. Handoff, little end around, a lot of room here, and a fine tackle made after a pickup. Clock will continue to run, but we've seen the escapability of many of these players. Fine tackle made by Salas Mays.
And a nice block out there. 23, Thomas Gibson. You see him at the bottom of your screen right there, lined up in the wide receiver spot. He made a block that kind of sprung things free there on that play.
Gain of 8. Again, the handoff inside. Cut down. Maybe a pickup of 1.5 or so, shy of the first down. Ball spotted at 30. Looks like they may give him the first down.
Yeah, if it's touching the 30, that should be a first down. They started at the 20 on the touchback.
So they will move the sticks. Ball spotted just at the 30-yard line, and it is 1st and 10 for the Braves.
Everybody checking their wristbands for the play. Everyone's got one now. It's not just the quarterback anymore.
Stanzione will hand it off, and again it's early into the secondary, and early just shy of the first down stick, maybe about a pickup of 8, right on the team average. Early coming into tonight, a 7.8 yard per gain average, and we may have a penalty flag here. And there will be no flag. It is picked up.
And you'll see Glenn get out there, 44, and lead the way with the block. He's pushing guys down the field. Same with, again, the other fullback, Eric Mercado, is out there as well, number 4. Both those guys leading the way. And, I mean, that's what you get when you play Williamstown. You're going to get the ball carrier and 2 of his partners from the backfield leading the way.
2nd and 2, handoff again. And across the 40, this will be more than enough for the first down. And Williamstown continuing to move the football. This time a change of pace going to their other big weapon, Tyreek Glenn.
Winters and Daniel Figueroa in on the tackle that time.
One of the things we saw last week with Paulsboro is successful running by utilizing the power of the legs, and Glenn, an indicator of that there. And into the secondary, that should be a little shy of the first down, and now we're going to have a penalty flag, maybe a late hit.
Yeah, he was out of bounds and he got hit again. That'll add 15 more to this play, so that's going to make this a huge gainer for the Braves here.
We talked about the importance of discipline, and penalties hurt Williamstown earlier. It looks like they're going to hurt Hammonton.
See, he's out right there, and then, Bernard a little bit after the fact.
Yeah, not a whole lot there, but I guess err on the side of caution.
Certainly no malicious intent there at all, but again, he's out of bounds, and that's what they're basing it on.
1st and 10 now, all the way down to the 31-yard line. Remember, this drive started at Williamstown's 20.
We've got a timeout on the field. Blue Devils will take a minute to take a breather, I think. Really, more so than anything, it's a little bit of a timeout to catch their breath.
Well, coming into tonight, you always look at teams and you try to say, hey, how are these teams going to match up? What can we see to illustrate how close of a game it's going to be? And the one common opponent they had was Kingsway, a team that we had a couple weeks ago. Both teams played Kingsway very tight. Williamstown winning by a touchdown, Hammonton just winning by a field goal. Not only is that an indication of how close these two teams are, but also it illustrates just how good of a team Kingsway is.
Well, yeah, we saw them a couple weeks ago, and the thing that impressed Washington Township's coach about Kingsway was their run defense, and clearly that that was working for the Dragons in both of those matchups. The Hammonton opened up at Kingsway, beat them 16-13, and then week 2, Kingsway came here to Williamstown, and Williamstown won 14-7. So 2 close games, and again, it's that Kingsway run D that certainly had to be a key factor in keeping these two teams to such low scores.
Stanzione. And he'll hand off, but not a whole lot there. Stanzione has been charitable in his distribution. Coming into tonight, it was Stanzione who was the leading rusher. That's not the case tonight.
Yeah, leading rusher in terms of yardage, at least, with 517 yards. It's kind of like you play the hot hand and one guy gets going, let him get things going, see where he can take it, then the next guy. And you kind of let the game develop. And then as the game wears on, you'll see Williamstown will kind of tend to stick with one guy.
Here's Early. Cut inside, jukes back against the grain, and he'll have enough for the first down.
The other thing that you see with Williamstown, though, is they always have variety in their backfield. You've got a guy like Glenn, who's got some power with the speed. You've got Early, who's finesse, finds holes, and hits them quickly and turns it upfield quickly. And then, of course, Stanzione will take it and keep it whenever he sees fit, and he can maneuver and kind of see the game as it kind of develops in front of him.
Out of the shotgun. Stanzione will pitch. Cut back against the grain once again. Spinning off tackles Glenn. Glenn shaking off another tackle and finally slung down. You see the power of Tyrek Glenn.
And Williamstown will call a timeout here. Coach Frank Fusatola out there has them stop the clock as we've got exactly 2 minutes left to go here in the first half. That run by Glenn, though, was interesting. If you watch it, it was designed to go left, and he stopped immediately and said, I'm going to go back right. There was some space there, but there were a lot of white shirts, too. So, I wonder what he saw to kind of make that change.
Well, again, you see the power of Glenn as he shrugged off a tackle from what looked like Parker Hakeem. 64. We don't have a 64 on our roster, and then shook off Sean Collins, who is one of the top defensive players in South Jersey. So, looks like it was Miles Sampson actually who he shook off. But we talked about Glenn. We talked about just what a powerful runner he is, and we also mentioned that he's a guy that makes him tick defensively. Coming into tonight, 52 tackles on the season. So. He's a guy that likes to be physical. There you see Frank Fusatola. You see his career mark. He's done a fine job here at Williamstown.
And Williamstown's a team that, for a long time was in the Tri-County Conference, and they would dominate that part of the world because they were the biggest school. Once the West Jersey Football League came about, Williamstown has gotten a chance to shine on a different stage, and they've certainly done a great job with it, including winning a state title a couple years ago after that perfect season.
2nd down and 9. They're waiting until Hammonton set their defense before they call the play. In motion. Stanzione keeps. Stanzione across the middle. And Stanzione is finally stopped. It looked like Hammonton was trying to rip that football out. Stanzione, not only a good run, but sure-handed.
Yeah, and he picks up about 11 there for another first down. You're talking about 1st and goal now here from the 6. Plenty of time left to go, 1:50. They stop the clock as they move the chains.
You see that both teams have 2 timeouts remaining. Stanzione again. Will pitch. It's Glenn. Glenn. Touchdown.
And Mark Wolf, number 76, on the offensive line, helped kind of spring that play. I had him listed at left tackle. I think he's still playing left tackle, but he was the one that kind of got up out of that stance and made a huge block. It looked like he took a couple of guys with him, actually, and paved the way for the score.
Well, we had some trouble last time. It is Victor Ruggiano who is the holder, and the kick this time is good. So Williamstown with a 6-point lead now with 1:38 left. If you're Williamstown, you're feeling a lot better about things.
We'll get a look at the touchdown here. And there you see, wham, that block I was talking about by Wolf. He came across from and just laid his man out. That's one of those that they put in the stat column, pancake block.
And if you're Hammonton, you saw Glenn shaking off easily 2 shoulder tackles. They talk about it all the time. It's just fundamentals. You got to wrap the player up. And when you have someone like Tyrek Glenn, he's not going down just because you hit him hard.
No, certainly not. And none of the guys on either team are going to do that. From player number 1 to player number 50 or 60 or whatever it is, you're talking about two teams with tradition, a lot of toughness, and that's been instilled in the program for years and years, whether it's Frank Fusatola, whether it's Hammonton's coach, Jim Rasso, or going back to Pete Lancetta, too. I mean, these two teams have always been, through the years, just looked upon as teams with toughness.
Well, we talked about both defenses, Michael. Minute 38 left in the first half, and you know what we haven't seen yet? A punt. Williamstown to kick it away. Hammonton has enjoyed good field position. It's a squib kick, and it's fumbled. Picked up at the 18, and smashed down at the 20. Well, Hammonton will start at their 20. That is the deepest they will start a drive tonight. Minute 33 remaining. And they'll respot the football, it looks like, at the 22.
Yeah, looking for progress there. But you kind of sense Williamstown starting to come to life now. They started out with that kind of shocking getting down 14-0. Now they're back in it at 21-15. And if special teams are any indication, the way they covered that kickoff, they're starting to, things are starting to, get ignited on the Williamstown sideline. It's going to be an interesting second half.
There you see 93 seconds remaining. Winters under center. They'll hand off, and just not much there. Probably a loss of 1. As, again, they're trying to rip that football out. It looked like the handoff went inside to Ryan Lomax.
And Frank Fusatola calls timeout. He senses his team can get the football back with a couple of more stops, and wants to get an opportunity maybe to get sneak in a couple extra, some points before the break.
Kind of an interesting call there. You anticipate Williamstown playing the run. You think that you might go with the big banger and Bernard. Instead, they go to Lomax, just 5'8", 189 pounds.
I think, regardless of what Hammonton, the main thing Hammonton's trying to do, I think, is just run out the clock and get off the field at this point. And there you see trying to pick his way through the crowd, but not much room as Williamstown locks it down.
Well, you mentioned that they just want to run the ball, but they do need to run it successfully in order to get out of here without giving the ball back to Williamstown, as Williamstown still with a timeout remaining and a minute 25 left. 2nd down and 10. Winters under center, and he'll hand it off to Barnard this time. And he'll stretch across about the 26-yard line, and again, a quick timeout, so a minute 19 left.
And that's it for Williamstown timeouts. But again, now puts Hammonton in a 3rd and long here, and it gives Williamstown a potential opportunity to get the football back. Even if Hammonton keeps it on the ground here and the clock continues to run, it's still going to force Hammonton to give the ball back to Williamstown.
Now, if you're Hammonton, you can roll the dice a little bit here. We've seen that Williamstown very aggressive. They've bit on the play action pass previously. You could come up with a big play and really stun Williamstown. Conversely, you can play conservatively, say, listen, we're on the road, we have a 6-point lead, let's just keep it on the ground and we'll mitigate the opportunities for Williamstown.
Yeah, it'll be interesting 3rd down play call here for Hammonton. And head coach Jim Rasso, what he dials up.
3rd down and 7. They will have to get to the 32-yard line in order to gain a 1st down. As we mentioned, no timeouts remaining for the Braves. Winters. They'll keep. Winters stretches it, and he's going to fall down. Looks like he may be just shy of that 1st down.
Yeah, about a yard short, maybe slightly less. Looks like they're going to stop the clock and measure it.
Yep.
Yeah, wow.
So
that's another advantage for Williamstown now. The clock stops again. They're out of timeouts, but boom, the clock stops again.
Well, if they reset the clock, then essentially, they'll have 30 seconds, so they can punt the ball with approximately 35 seconds or so. You think that Williamstown ends up with the football with maybe 20-plus seconds, but of course they have to get rid of the punt. We saw what can happen in a punt in that Michigan State game.
And you see there's the referee, Colin Whipke, holding the chains there. Only a few links to go for the Blue Devils, and as we said, 7.7 yards a carry this season. Maybe you don't punt. Maybe you go for it here.
It was interesting because it looked like Winters had the edge there and he just went down. So we'll see. I think you may be right here. I think they might go for it. Just kind of go to the big guy, Bernard. 30-yard range essentially for the kicking team of Williamstown, a team that traditionally likes to run. So they're going to run the clock down. They'll probably call a timeout, and then they will have an opportunity to discuss things. The clock will run down inside of 35 seconds or so, and then they'll regroup.
Yeah, and that's smart for Hammonton here. You use the clock. It's your friend right now. Let it go.
I thought what they may do is just line up and try to draw Williamstown off sides and then call the timeout, but they opted to kind of play it straight.
Great work by both coaches here, using the clock, using their timeouts smartly. Great stuff. Great tactical stuff by both of them.
Well, we were looking for an excellent football game tonight. We mentioned Hammonton coming into tonight ranked number 2 by the Philadelphia Inquirer, and Williamstown ranked number 5. It has not disappointed, relatively evenly matched. The difference, the turnover. Interception from Stanzione, picked off by Winters. And right now, it is Williamstown trailing as a result of that.
And Williamstown also with the 15, they had a miscue on one of their point after attempts that their holder was able to scoop up, run in for the 2. So it actually worked to their advantage. A little bit of a miscue that worked out in their favor. Victor Ruggiano, it looks like, is the holder, number 18. We had identified number 10 previously, but so that kind of helped them out a little bit, and that's why we've got a 6-point game.
So they are going to punt. I thought that they were going to run the football. I thought they're going to have visions of Michigan State, Michigan in their head, but instead they will punt it away. So you need a lot to go right here, things that we typically take for granted.
Onani Moore back deep for Williamstown.
It's a good snap. Punt is away. It's a low-line drive, end over end, and it will bounce, and it will be downed. They'll have a couple more seconds run off, and finally blown dead at the 38-yard line. 24.9 seconds left remaining for the Braves offense.
Moore thought about running up on that thing as it took that high bounce. There was a couple of Hammonton defenders there, though, kind of flanking him, and he, I think, thought better of it and stepped away. Moore has returned 9 punts this year for 91 yards, averaging 10 yards per return.
Now, one of the keys that Frank Fusatola said to tonight is to win the special teams battle, and they've held their own.
Now Williamstown will have to operate quickly. We'll see if they put it in the air. They do have a couple of receivers in the ball game now lined up to the right. And Jim Rasso calls timeout here for Hammonton.
Well, it's interesting. You kind of have student and teacher battling it out. Rasso, as we mentioned, played underneath Fusatola back during his youth with the Hammonton Hawks. And, you got a little bit of a chess game going on here, Michael.
Yeah, it's cool stuff. And I think Rasso just wanted to come out and remind those guys, look, we got to just not give up the big play here. Be smart, no penalties. There's a couple things you want to just reiterate to the team. You have the timeout, you might as well use it right now. I mean, it doesn't hurt anybody to go out there and make a couple of quick points.
Williamstown.
And I think that might actually be the defensive coordinator for for Hammonton out there right now, talking it over with the squad.
Williamstown is a town that loves its football. Another fine crowd on hand here. A beautiful complex. The high school itself, the campus, the actual building. Just a beautiful setup for the people of Williamstown. First down and 10. 24.9 seconds remaining. Stanzione will work out of the shotgun. Stanzione will hand it off at the 40. And forward progress. Ball is loose. Ball is loose, and it looks like Hammonton will come away with it. Hammonton football.
And it's Solace Mays under the pile there who pulled it out. Number 7 for Hammonton. And this is, we'll see. I don't know, the clock still seems to be moving for no apparent reason. And actually, they're going to say, what the heck? Williamstown the runner was down?
I guess that's the call. And now there's problems throughout. The clock operator did not stop the clock even after he spiked the football. There were still a couple seconds left on the clock. There's a penalty flag down. People were running around. It was utter chaos. Here you see the run from early, and they rolled him down.
Oh yeah, you could see he was definitely down. The ball caused the the ground caused the fumble, and then of course with the flag being against the offense, the half expires.
Well, a curious way to end the first half, but a great first half nonetheless. We'll step away. Your Atlantic City Electric Game of the Week. Hammonton on top, 21-15. Welcome back to Williamstown High School. About to get the second half away. Your Atlantic City Electric football game of the week has not disappointed. Hammonton on top. Hammonton on top, 21-15. They will kick it away. And Riker will do the honors. Hammonton and Williamstown have each flexed their collective offensive muscles in the first half.
But we'll see if Williamstown can keep some of that momentum going, Rob. They really had things cooking there late in the second quarter.
Squib kick taken at the 8-yard line. Williamstown with a fine return, cut down about the 29. Well, Williamstown started the scoring, Hammonton started the scoring. Bevan, a 12-yard touchdown pass from Winters. Winters then returned an interception for 42 yards to put Williamstown in the hole by 14. The Braves struck with early on a 41-yard touchdown run. A botched hold ended up benefiting Williamstown to make it 14-8. Barnard with a touchdown run for Hammonton, and then Williamstown answered with a Glenn 6-yard touchdown run. That's all you're scoring. First down and 10 for the Braves. Kicked outside and cut down, a fine tackle made. As, again, the defense of Hammonton showing up here early. A fine tackle made by Daniel Figueroa. Second down and 10, 11:25. Your first series in this third quarter. Williamstown playing from behind, something they're not necessarily familiar with, but able to generate a lot of momentum, playing from the hole, down by 14, and now just down by 6. Quick pitch, another shoestring tackle made, and Figueroa is having himself a series.
Came in with 19 total tackles. He'd only played in 4 games for Williamstown. So he's certainly rounding himself back into game shape here and looking good coming from the linebacker spot.
Third down and 12. Here you see the replay.
And Figueroa had a line on that ball right off the bat. He saw it coming, and you saw him break right for the play. Well read.
Stanzione. Play action pass, flushed out of the pocket, has some time, throws it up. Man is wide open, blown coverage taken at the 40. Back across the grain to the 30. Slung down by Victor Solis Mays, but he was wide open, Michael.
Yeah, he got loose, and you could hear the coaches up here in the booth yelling, throw it, because he was wide open, and the quarterback just had to get himself comfortable and rolled out, get his footwork going, and he had the pass, and got it down the field. And again, the receiver wide open and was able to pick up a first down and a lot more. And Williamstown on the move.
Looks like Williamstown will go to the hurry up.
Stanzione came in with just 17 completions before tonight's ballgame.
So a long third down is converted by the Braves. They will go first down and 10 at about the 25-yard line. Right up the gut, pushing forward, a pickup of about 5. And Williamstown continues to grind it out. Again, the run there by Mercado. Here's your pass.
And you see Stanzione rolling to his right. He got himself set. Well, not set so much, but the ball set in his hand. You saw him kind of spin it around a little bit, and he got it out there. And wide open was the receiver.
Tyreek Glenn.
Of course, was Glenn, who was able to haul it in. But he got loose and just kind of was able to camp out there along the sideline.
It was tough to appreciate how open he was on the replay, but you could see from the trajectory of the ball. Here's Glenn. Stretching it outside, slung down at about the 14.
Winters in on the tackle there.
Well, that third down was a critical play for Williamstown. You get a sense that the momentum has swung.
Yeah, and they had some momentum on their side really as the first half kind of wound down. They were moving the football rather well, and they got that touchdown to bring it to within 21-15.
Braves looking over to the sidelines to get the next play, first down and 10. And Williamstown is within a touchdown of tying this up and a point after to go ahead for the first time tonight. Stanzione pitches. It's Early. Early cuts it back inside. Early. And Early finally stopped. You know, this is just kind of old school football, Michael.
Well, and that's what
I'm coming right at you. Stop me.
That's what you get with these two teams. I mean, they're going to load the backfield up, 3 running backs, and just, here, your turn. You run the ball, and you're going to get out. Those blockers get out there and lead the way and just smash mouth football.
Again, they'll look over to the sideline to get the next play. Gain of 5 on that last one. Second down and 5 at the the Hammonton 10-yard line.
Timeout. Coach Fusatola ran over to tell the referee he wanted timeout here. Didn't like something that either the Hammonton defense was showing him or maybe he just didn't have the right personnel on the field here for this second down play. But at this point in the game, where you have the football, you've got it at the 10 of Hammonton. You have to capitalize on this possession, and you have to get it into the end zone. So Coach Fusatola says, let's take a timeout and talk it over, and let's get it right, not waste a play.
You know, Hammonton started out with a 14-point lead. Let's take a look at the Williamstown schedule here. They start out against a Shawnee team. Some people thought Shawnee was down, but they came back with a big win against Cherokee last week. A tough win against Kingsway, and then the pasting began. East End, Pensacola, 95-0. Cherokee, as we mentioned, the weather certainly played a role in that. Clearview and Eastern, they scored 95 points, and frankly, they probably could have scored a lot more if they wanted to.
And talking to Hammonton's coach, Coach Jim Razzo, about this Williamstown game and about that Cherokee game in particular, he said really it was a few plays that Williamstown had, a couple of turnovers. That game could have went easily the other way, and you could be looking at 2 undefeated teams playing here tonight here on this football field rather than, you know, a Williamstown team with 1 loss.
Don't be surprised if you see those teams meet up again, Cherokee and Williamstown, in the Group 5 playoffs. It's right around the corner, and we'll have it for you. Handoff right up the middle again, driving forward towards the end zone. Touchdown! Well, we saw the power running from Eric Mercado. It's been mostly Early and Glenn, but Mercado in the mix. A 10-yard touchdown run.
And Mercado just would not be denied. He kept going forward, kept moving the feet. And if you've got a little momentum behind you, you're going to get that leverage, and you can just push that defender back, and that's what he did. He just kept moving, and gets into the end zone.
And because of that botched point after, now Williamstown can take the lead. Williamstown kick is up, and we're going to have a penalty flag here, so it looks like we're going to have a roughing the kicker. And the kick will count.
And Coach Fusatola wants to get that his team back over to the sidelines and talk talk to him again before the flag is thrown. We'll see here the touchdown. And watch Mercado. He's contacted there at about the 5, slips away, ducks under, and then just powers his way the rest of the way.
You know, we've seen this all night long. This is, again, just power football, old school style, and it's really about who wants it a little bit more, and there Mercado just wanted it a little bit more than the defense.
And a lot of times it's also about that offensive line, Rob, and who can get that leverage and get that push. And really, both these teams' offensive lines have been getting it done tonight, and that's where where it all kind of starts.
And not surprisingly, both teams' coaches said, "Listen, we need to control the line."
And you got one guy that knows a little something about offensive line play. You see him right there on your screen, big guy, just looking back towards about the 45-yard line. That's Vince Kowalski. Vince was with the Green Bay Packers this season in the preseason. He's a Villanova graduate, a Williamstown graduate, and he was with the Packers in the preseason as a free agent. He's still trying to land a gig in the NFL as an offensive lineman. He's been in some talks with the Cleveland Browns, I understand, and Kowalski was an all-conference, all-South Jersey player here at Williamstown. He was an all-conference player when he played at Villanova, so he knows a little something about offensive line play for sure, does big Vince Kowalski. Good to see him back here helping out his alma mater.
Because of the personal foul, Williamstown will kick it off at the 45-yard line of Hammonton. This is a great spot to try an onside kick, and we'll see whether or not Frank Fusatola and the Braves roll the dice a little bit here. Even if you are unsuccessful, you're not going to have great field position if you're Hammonton. So let's take a look. And they'll play it straight. Squib kick and taken at the 4-yard line. Across the 15 and cut outside. So on the return, it was Ryan Lomax.
But the 15-yard line is where Hammonton will start here. And that was a great kickoff, too, by the Williamstown kicker. It kind of just skidded in there and laid in the corner. They forced him to pick it up. It wasn't going to roll out of bounds, and it wasn't going to roll into the end zone, so they had to play it, and they did a great job of hemming him in and using the sideline as that extra defender to force it to be at the 15.
We're going to have a procedure penalty here. Movement in the backfield, and this play will be negated. Yeah, we'll see. Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
And more importantly, on the other side, Rob, the number 62 on the back of the helmets there of Williamstown. That's in remembrance of Darius Boyer, who tragically passed away this summer, drowned here in Williamstown, actually at a quarry swimming, and the players have kind of dedicated their season to his memory. Number 62, Darius Boyer, would have been a senior this year.
This will be a 5-yard penalty, and not the way that Hammonton wanted to start the drive. Kind of interesting there. You see the sign held up on the side. Wasn't it the Eagles that originated that with the crazy signs that the plays going in?
There was a college team.
Was it Oregon?
It might have been Oregon, but I think there was even another team before that. If you go to college games, you see all kinds of crazy signs like that. I work a lot of college games during the fall season, and you see like James Madison and all these other. They got all these crazy things.
Inside handoff, not a whole lot there. Maybe a yard at most. Well, this is a big series for Hammonton because they have had the momentum taken away from them. End of the first half and now the start of the second half. Additionally, backed up in their own end, they want to make sure that Williamstown has a long field. Williamstown has not punted tonight. Only one punt for the Blue Devils, and that was just before the end of the first half. Clock continues to move here. 6 minutes and 50 seconds remaining for Hammonton. And Winters will pitch. And pickup of about 4 or 5.
Frank Fusatola is fired up. I have not seen him this fired up in a game in the many times I've seen him on the sidelines. But before that play even took place, he was pointing and yelling at the far side of the field, so he knew that play was going to go to the left for Hammonton, to his defense's right, and they snuffed it out.
Well, we mentioned before that Frank Fusatola is a resident of Hammonton, coached Jim Rasso, and no teacher wants to lose to their student.
And that's one of a bunch of interesting connections that Hammonton and Williamstown have. I mean, they're very close by one another. You know, you drive through Williamstown to get over to Hammonton, but the athletic director at Hammonton, Marnie Parks, is a resident of Williamstown. Her kids went to school here in Williamstown with a lot of the kids that go to Williamstown as well. So a lot of cool connections.
We'll restart the clock here, and it was a timeout on the field, but it was not a called timeout by either team.
I think there was an injury that one of the Hammonton players.
That's correct. Winters back to pass, has time and has a man, and overthrows his intended receiver, Victor Salas-Mays.
But he got pressure, and that kind of forced him to throw it a little sooner than he wanted to. Coming up there defensively was number 3, Eric Smith. Smith is the leading tackler for this Williamstown defense with 68 this season, including 19 solo. And you'll see him come into the play there. He got over the block and forced that throw a little bit sooner than he wanted.
So Hammonton forced to punt it away.
Smith's a junior that plays defensive end, 6'2", 210, as I said, 68 tackles leading the team, 19 of which have been solo knockdowns.
Moore and Early back to receive the punt at the 45-yard line. High booming kick and a fair catch called at the 46-yard line. So a nice punt for Hammonton, and Williamstown will take possession of the football. They have a 1-point lead. And if you're Frank Fusatolo and you start out the game 14-0, things were looking pretty gray, but you have to be very pleased with the way that your team bounced back. But Mike, I think one of the keys was that they didn't worry. They continued to pound the football. They realized that there was still a lot more football to play, and it has proven that patience pays dividends.
Yeah, well, they didn't get out of their game plan. It was too early to start panicking, start flinging the ball around with reckless abandon. They've got a style and a way that they play, and the way that they've always played, and they're going to win or lose by that style. And especially, again, at that early point in the game, as the offense rushes out into the field trying to avoid a delay of game.
1st and 10. Stanzione hands it off and cut outside. We're going to have a holding penalty here. This is going to come back, and that's a shame because there's a fine run by Early.
There might be two separate incidents, two separate fouls on the play. There was a flag in the backfield back at the 50, and then there was one as Early zipped down the far sideline over there that was thrown at about the 35. And we'll see if it is indeed two different things. It could be two of the same thing. It could be two holds.
Sure. Well,
and of course, you're going to take the one that was back here at the line of scrimmage, not the one downfield.
Penalties have certainly had a role tonight. Colin Whitkey, your referee, sorting things out. It looks like this is going to come back. Think about the helmet design here. You got the kind of the Delaware thing going on.
Yeah.
Do you know the derivation of that? I was always kind of
It's always been
that.
Hammonton's look. They've had that for years, except it used to always be. It was blue and white back in the day, if I recall.
That's correct.
Yeah, but yeah, they've always had that. They've always had that look. I guess it's the devils, little horns, I guess, at the top there. That's the best thing I can come up with, especially under duress here under the bright lights of the press box.
So we have a holding penalty against Williamstown. An unsportsmanlike penalty. He's talking to someone. I think he was saying that was against Hammonton. I don't know.
There's going to be a hold, and then I think that there was a sideline warning maybe over there.
I think it was
maybe that's what the flag was.
No, it was an unsportsmanlike penalty. So what they did is the holding penalty happened behind the line of scrimmage. So it turns out to be a 1-yard gain. First down. It still will be first down, but first down and 9. You know, and In the NFL, that would be a holding penalty of 10 yards. In high school, it's where they spot the football.
One of the assistant coaches for Williamstown came running up the sideline to tell the referee that the chain gang over there, you see the orange?
Yep.
They moved it to mark where the first down marker was. In essence, the only thing that should have moved is the actual ball marker, which is the stick with the number on it. The chains with the circle you see there looks like the kind of the Target logo. That's got to go back where it started.
There you go. And this is a home game. Things are tough.
So 1st and 9 is what we'll have here.
We'll get it sorted.
That's odd.
You see once in a blue moon, but it does happen. And Williamstown will start just 9 yards away at the 45. Stanzione again out of the shotgun. Handoff Mercado. And just not much there. Maybe a gain of 1. 2nd down. We'll call it 8.
Now, I've heard of 2nd and 8. I've never seen 1st and 9 before. That was weird. Flat out weird.
Everybody checking their wristbands, as you mentioned before. Plays continually coming in from the sideline of Williamstown. 2nd down and 8 for Stanzione and the Braves. Again, the handoff, stretching it out. And Glenn unable to beat Bernard. Well, that's a matchup you like to see. Those two guys going at it.
Zach Bernard, 39 total tackles coming to this one, which was listed as a team high for the Blue Devils. 5.6 per game, and the 6'3", 215-pound senior plays linebacker. Just hung on. That's all you got to do. Let your friends come help you, but no help needed that time as he was able to wrestle Glenn down to the grass and look at 3rd and 10 here.
We had 1st and 9, now we have 3rd and 10. Stanzione out of the shotgun. He'll keep to the outside, Stanzione, and he'll be knocked out of bounds at about the 42. And this will give Williamstown an opportunity to punt it away. Their first time tonight. They'll try to pin Hammonton back deep in their own end.
I'll tell you what, number 50 for Williamstown, Jake Chamberlain. He got banged up a little bit there. I think he hurt his left arm a little bit. It's still kind of hanging if you watch him, number 50 in the middle of your screen.
Yep.
He got up fast, though, to get back to the next snap, but, man, he looked like he was in some pain.
Now able to flex his arm for the first time. Deep drop for Williamstown, and Hammonton's Solis Mays at his 10-yard line. Punts away. It's a low one, and it's angled towards the sideline. It'll go out of bounds right around the 20-yard line. And whatever it's worth, it looks like Williamstown got a good spot there.
And the punter was under some pressure, but he was able to get rid of it quick. Really, that's all you need to do in that case. Your team has the ball on the opponent's side of the field. You're punting. You just want to get rid of it. Don't get it blocked. Don't fumble. Just get rid of it. It doesn't matter necessarily how far you kick it. Just launch it as quickly as possible because you're going to put him back within. And I mean, it wasn't a great punt, but he got it inside the 20.
Well, Winters and Hammonton will try to regain their earlier form with Bernard in the backfield. Winters keeps. Had a seam, opted to go outside and negated. It looked like Winters had a little bit of a hole, but he instead bounced it outside, and Williamstown closed that in a hurry.
Devin Lewis, number 85, with the big hit. Lewis, one of the bigger guys on the line there, 6'1", 230. Coming up from the defensive end spot to make that stick.
It's hard to see, but if he would have cut that inside, I think he would have had 2 or 3 yards. 2nd down and 11, loss of 1. A 3-receiver set here for Winters.
Brian King, number 8 there as well.
They're yelling out, they're yelling on the press box to look for the screen here. We'll see. This is a team that has had some success in the air in that first quarter. Now it's going to be a delay of game. Wheels are starting to come off of the Blue Devils.
You know, it's kind of weird. the back judge, the referee who makes the call on that, down here on the near, he's on the near sideline. The quarterback is not going to see that guy. He's got his hand up, and he was counting out the time. But it's not really where the quarterback's going to see it.
Yeah.
You need the guy in the middle of the field really to kind of be the guy in charge of that, and he's not.
That's
and
a great point.
That makes it tough for a quarterback to know really what's going on.
And they were looking for the screen. Turns into a quarterback draw, and pickup of about 6. Interesting, it's Josh Bevan who's in at quarterback now, so we may have an injury to Winters.
He's in Winters is on the field. He's lined up on the far side in a flanker position, and Bevan actually has thrown 3 passes this year. He's 1 for 3 this season for 39 yards.
Has a lot of time, throws it up, has a man wide open, and unable to come down with it is Lomax.
And Bevan's 39 yards of passing all came on that one play. He's 1 for 3, 39 yards. It was a 39-yard touchdown to the quarterback, Winters.
The receiver did not get a good job of getting his feet set underneath him. He kind of let the ball come to him and then tried to jump and get it. If he would have run under it, I think they would have come away with a big gain. But instead, again, it's another punt. This second half appreciably different from the first. We'll have our 3rd punt already in this half. Williamstown back to receive. It's a line drive kick taken at the 40-yard line. A lot of space, and they called for a fair catch. So unfortunate for Onani Moore.
Got a 38-yard punt there for Flores. Williamstown again with pretty good field position though, as they will start at their own 41. Clock winding down here in the 3rd quarter. 2:36 left to go. We have a flag on the field as well at about the 40. I'm wondering if
illegal fair catch there.
The player who didn't catch the ball, I think, was the one that called for the fair catch, perhaps, and I think that's what they're discussing here now.
Yep.
Because it seemed like the guy that ran with the ball, why would he run with it if he called a fair catch? Kind of unusual. Yeah.
So that is the call.
I like to see that on the I like to see a replay of that. Here we go. Yeah, look, 5 was kind of waving. I don't know if either of them really called for a fair catch, honestly. I don't see anybody's hand up.
Yeah, I think he had it up. Again,
he was kind of
a little bit late.
I think, trying to create space for himself. Like, I got it. You know, from baseball,
Sure.
Rob, somebody's got to call it, right? I got it. You got 2 guys back there.
That's true.
Can lend itself to some confusion.
Kind of directing traffic.
Yeah.
So that'll back him up another 5 yards. 1st and 10 at the 36 for the Braves. Stanzio hands it off, and it looks like Mercado. It is early. These numbers are not easy to pick up.
Yeah, the blue on the black kind of thing is a little tough. Here you go. We'll get a look at it now. They're ISO'd. We've got both return men. Here's the ball. Oh, yeah, he called it right away. Well, you know what? I don't know. He put his hand up,
Once
so
you
that's it.
put your hand up, that's it. Maybe that's why Moore had so much space after he caught it. 2nd down and 5 for Stanzione and the Braves. 2:36 left in this 3rd quarter. They'll hand it off, and not a whole lot there. And this time, it looked like Mercado.
And you
Salas Mays kind of getting involved a little bit after the whistle. They have to be careful. We have seen how penalties have hurt both of these teams.
And that's not the first time that Victor Salas Mays and that Williamstown player whose jersey is so cranked up and wrinkled up from the little altercation, you can't tell who it is, but it's 23. Those 2 guys have been kind of scuffling for a while now. That's Thomas Gibson. The 2 of them have been going at it, but really the ball's never been near them.
3rd down and 4. Early in motion. Stanzione keeps. Pressure from the backside. Stanzione angles outside. Enough for the 1st down. And it is Winters who forces him out.
This time it came that way. Again, it was 23 there out there getting the block. Thomas Gibson. Also, one of the running backs there, one of the committee of running backs, Mercado, number 4, was out there as well, leading the way for his quarterback. And you'll see Mercado right there. He gets a little chip on Solace Mays.
You know, Mays was interesting because he, instead of continuing with the play, he was pleading to the referee for a holding penalty.
Yeah, he kind of put his hands up like, oh, I'm getting held here.
You have to continue
and he might have
that
been.
play. First down and 10 for the Braves. They're now inside of Hammonton territory at the 42-yard line. Early in motion, Stanzione to Mercado. Mercado hit in the backfield, and he'll drive forward and maybe pick up half a foot.
Zach Bernard on the tackle there made the initial hit. Number 5 will come up and make the stop. Hammonton's got that old school 5-2 defense, which works kind of like a 3-4 really. You've got you've got the nose guard, you've got 2 defensive tackles, then your DNs, who are Collins and Bevins, have kind of dropped back as kind of a hybrid defensive end, outside linebacker type of situation. So you've got essentially 5 guys across the front, but those guys have the option of reading the play and dropping back if need be.
And you mentioned that's a defense that Hammonton has run through the years. Second down, out of the shotgun, Stanzione, it's early, breaks one tackle, cuts it back inside, but he will still lose yards. Good second effort, but finally Bernard answered early.
Jonathan Vega blew that play up, and early looks like he might be a little bit shaken up as he needs some help to get up.
Early, and it looks like he's favoring one of his legs. He's trying to wave off any help, but he will come off, and it's going to be Onani Moore who will spell him.
Well, you see he's got the left ankle already kind of wrapped up with some black, looks like a neoprene kind of thing around his left ankle, or maybe some tape there, but he's going to come off and maybe get that thing retaped.
Big third down here for this Blue Devils defense. Inside of 30 seconds remaining. I don't know whether or not they will get a playoff before the end of this third quarter. 3rd and 13. Stanzione has had some success through the air. They're obviously losing a key player in early.
Yeah, they're going to have to snap it before the quarter ends.
Handoff, and Glenn breaks one tackle, but he won't break the next one, and they continue to go backwards. That'll be the last play of this quarter. Williamstown will be forced to punt it away, and we'll have that for you when we come right back. Your Atlantic City Electric Game of the Week. It's been a great one. Williamstown on top of Hammonton by 1. Welcome back. Start of the fourth quarter. Williamstown forced to punt it away. They have a 1-point lead.
And we've got a flag. Should be going against Williamstown.
So that'll back up the Braves 5 more yards. It's going to be Mays back with Lomax to return the punt. Now, Williamstown has had some difficulty in having pressure on their punter. Good snap, good protection, good punt, bounces, and it's going to be a big bounce for the Braves, and the Braves fall on the football inside the 10-yard line. So an excellent punt there by Williamstown's punter, and I tell you what, Kevin Gilmore came up big there.
Also coming up big, though, was the coverage team, Rob, because they had to chase that thing down before it got to the end zone, and they made sure of it, diving on it inside the 5. They'll probably mark it at the 5, actually.
That's a critical mistake by the Hammonton returners, allowing that ball to bounce, and they got another 20 yards on the bounce. So first down and 10, Hammonton will have a long way to go. The battle of field position has been won in the second half thus far by the Braves. You see the ball spotted at the 5-yard line. You got to believe that you're going to get a steady dose of Winters and Barnard to start things.
48 yards on the punt by Kevin Gilmore. Sets Hammonton up deep.
Hand off inside, and maybe a gain of 1 or 2. Bernard has been slowed in this second half.
And this game really, Rob, is just, it's like a boxing match with heavyweights. I mean, they're just slugging it out. You're seeing guys, new guys coming in on the offensive line, defensive line, replacing guys.
Battle of attrition.
It's just, yeah, I mean, that's all it is. People are getting worn out, beat down. But that's what you expect when you see these two teams play, and to see them play against each other, it's, even more physical than I expected.
Winters now under center. Again, the handoff. No, he'll keep. Winters spins through one tackle, still driving forward. And pickup of about 4 or 5. I'm not sure if I saw a penalty flag or not.
No, it was a towel. And they're giving it back to Winters right now.
So a nice run by Winters. And this is kind of tough territory here. 3rd down and 4 against a very, very tough defense. Winters has had some success in the air, but it hasn't been for some time. This is a case where you could show a run or a pass. I'll tell you, I've been impressed. Williamstown able to kind of anticipate the play being called by Hammonton based on their setup. And now it looks like, again, it's going to be a delay of game.
And again, that official that's calling that, they're snapping the ball on that hash mark on the far side of the field. The official who's calling the delay of game is on this sideline near us. So he's not even in your picture, anywhere near your picture. He's standing out about the 35-yard line. The ball's being snapped down at, around the 15 or so.
He's actually being blocked by one of the coaches. So
and
they really can't
he's
see.
Pulling that coach back, actually, at the moment. But so, I don't know. I mean, that might be something that they need to kind of examine just to help these kids play the game a little better and then know what's going on.
Winters hands it off right up the middle and nothing doing. So Hammonton's going to rely on their defense. They did not want to put the ball up in the air. Yeah, obviously on the pro level and the college level, you have a clock and now you're getting no help whatsoever.
No. And I'm telling you, the guy's like 50 yards away from the football. It's kind of ridiculous. I never really noticed that before, but tonight I'm seeing it because he's counting out and he's putting his hand in the air with each tick of the clock, as it's winding down. He's doing it within the last 5 seconds, but you can't speed up your call on the snap for that if you can't see it. The guy's 50 yards away from you.
So Riker to punt it away. Williamstown, Moore and early at the 42. Taken at the 40, fair catch, and Williamstown with excellent field position.
So Flores there with the 30-yard punt for Isaac Flores. Again, get rid of it. Don't cause any other things to happen. You just want to get rid of it quick, and that's what he's been able to do at least, and not catch the brunt of that Williamstown rush because they're coming hard after him.
Well, obviously this is a critical series for both teams, more so for Hammonton. Hammonton trailing by 1 point. First and 10, Braves. And we have movement. Mercado jumped. Well, an inauspicious beginning for the Braves.
And everybody for Williamstown is all like, come on, let's go. Everybody's got their hands up like, trying to figure out what's going on here, guys. Let's get it together.
Mercado in the backfield along with Glenn. And kicked outside, not a whole lot there. And finally driving forward. That is early, and now a late flag comes down. Well, we talked about both of these teams having to maintain self-discipline. We'll see who this goes against.
Well, Bernard got in there and kind of blew that play up. Number 5, the running back / linebacker for Hammonton. But he's going to get called for that unsportsmanlike after the play. So that's going to give Williamstown the ball at the 30. So a huge advantage here. That's a 15-yard penalty, and you're going to have second and 1.
As a coach, Michael, there is nothing that angers you more than a player that just is undisciplined, and I'm not suggesting that he typically is undisciplined, but in this situation, you just can't allow your emotions to get the best of you.
And the old adage, of course, is always the second guy always gets snagged. So if somebody just, pokes you in the eye, you got to have to take it.
Stanzione has stood up, and he will not make the first down. Good defensive stand by Hammonton. 3rd down and 1. This is 4-down territory, Michael. They're not going to punt the ball here, in my estimation. And it's out of the reach of their field goal unit.
Brett Beebe, number 58 there, in on the tackle for the Blue Devils. Haven't called his name tonight, not a starter, but he's in there now.
3rd down. Early with Mercado. Stanzione hands it off, and diving across the 30. That'll be very close to a first down. We'll see whether or not he is short.
And now Glenn comes up a little bit gimpy. And he's probably going to come off the field as they stop. Well, they're going to stop the clock probably to measure, but you're going to see Glenn probably come off the field as well.
There you see him at the bottom of the screen clapping his hands, number 44. So, from here it looked like he was short.
He tried to make that leap. Probably took a helmet to the thigh as he was in the air. He's short by a lot.
About 3/4 of a yard. So again, this is 4-down territory. If you're Frank Fusatola, you're going to run the ball. And the only question is who you're going to allow to run the ball. Glenn shaken up a little bit. We saw Early come out earlier, but he has since re-entered. Stanzione has been successful. So you have a triple threat. Nice little shot on Halloween Eve. Great job by our camera crew. That looked pretty spooky. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm waiting for the witch to go sailing by there. That's usually what happens, right?
That's right. 4th down and 1. Stanzione with Mercado and Glenn, the big boomers in the backfield. It's Mercado. Mercado through the secondary. Mercado spinning, and he'll pick up plenty. And no, Hammonton rips the ball away. Hammonton with possession.
Wow.
How quickly things turn.
How about that? It looked like Mercado was just he was simply heading down, and we'll see. They just stayed with the football. One guy held him up, another guy, look at it, he just ripped it out of his hands.
Well, I tell you,
Hollis
what
Mays,
a night
Solace
for
Mays.
Solace Mays. 7:47 left. Hammonton trailing by 1. They would like nothing better than to go on a long, protracted drive. It will certainly have to be long. It's starting at their own 21-yard line.
And that's just tough. You're a running back. You're trying to pick up extra yards. One guy holds you up. The other guy takes the ball from you. It's like getting mugged on the street by 2 people.
Winters back to pass, throws across the middle. It's picked off. Picked off. Across the 30-yard line. Now cuts it back. Still on his feet. And finally slung down is Onani Moore. Well, Winters had a lot of time, but he threw into triple coverage.
We got flags all over the field, too, all across the 35-yard line, far side of the field and this side of the field. We might have holding maybe on Williamstown on the return, perhaps.
That's my guess.
Ball was kind of thrown in there. You see 3 Williamstown defenders back there, just Solace Mays for Hammonton. So it was kind of an easy catch out there for Moore, and he just returns it deep into the heart of Hammonton territory. Here's the call from our official. 2 fouls, holding.
Pushing it back against Williamstown. That's declined. And it's going to be a personal foul against Williamstown that they will take. So 1st down and 10 for the Braves at the 40-yard line. The key here, of course, is that another turnover. This time it's Williamstown that comes away with the pick. 7:43 left. Still a lot of football to play.
That's a huge break for Hammonton, though. Huge break for Hammonton because it would have been 1st and 10 down at the 25, so you get 15 yards out of it. Now it's not, right on the doorstep of getting into the end zone, and Hammonton's defense is going to have to make them work.
Stanzione hands it off. It's early, cuts it back. Nice little run, picking up 3 yards.
For as gimpy as Early was coming off the field a few minutes ago, that was some pretty sharp running there, and we've got a player down for Hammonton. He's going to get up and walk off, but it looks like he's going to have to come out of the game as they stopped it here. That was number 78. Yeah, Jonathan
Vegas, 6-foot junior defensive tackle. And now he's able to jog off the field, so that's a good sign. 2nd down, call it 7. Clock starts again, and again it's Williamstown looking to the sideline to gain their place.
Looks like Hakeem Parker, number 65, has come in there to take the place of Vega.
Stanzione keeps. Looks to go outside, and it's Mays who cuts him down with a little bit of help from Winters.
And if you notice, Stanzione there, pretty smart. He knew he wasn't getting anywhere, but he didn't go out of bounds either, Rod. He stayed in bounds, keeps the clock running.
Big 3rd down now, 3rd and 7. Williamstown has had some success in the second half on 3rd down. Stanzione threw a big pass earlier, a big gainer. And we'll see whether or not Williamstown feels comfortable going to the air. A series of turnovers. Back-to-back plays, a fumble by Mercado, and then the interception by Winters. There's Stanzione working out of the shotgun. It's Glenn, and now Fusatola is absolutely ticked off as there seemed to be some miscommunication. They call a timeout before they get backed up another 5 yards. Saw how animated Fusatola was. You see him at the bottom of your screen, and kind of forced to call timeout. Here you see the schedule of the Hammonton Blue Devils. We mentioned before they opened the season against Kingsway and then play Washington Township. We had those two teams a few weeks back, 2 solid teams, and Hammonton comes away with the victories. Pennsauken showing off their offensive muscles, and then West, Clearview, Morristown, and the big win, of course, last week against Delsea. We mentioned these 3 games, Delsea and Williamstown away and Timber Creek at home. 3 of the toughest teams you'll face, and to have to do it back to back to back, pretty tough.
And then you got to follow that with your first-round playoff game the week after on the 13th. So, yeah, no shortage of tough games for Hammonton here. Coming in 7-0, 4-0 atop the West Jersey Football League National Division. This is, of course, a interdivisional game as Williamstown represents the American division of the West Jersey Football League.
3rd down and 7. And now a 4-receiver set. This is the first we've seen of this from Williamstown. Stanzione with 1 running back. Stanzione keeps, quick drop, has a man wide open, it's Glenn, and he's knocked down inside the 10.
That was just a matter of who was going to get to the football first. Was it going to be Glenn, or was it going to be the defensive back, Winters, the safety? But Glenn got under it. Nice touch on the ball from the quarterback, Stanzione, put it out there, and Glenn runs underneath it.
Well, the key there, you had a 4-receiver set. It was the play-action pass. Hammonton bid on it. Wide open was Glenn, and that will certainly be a turning point in this football game. 1st down and 10 for the Braves. Stanzione looks to pitch. He keeps instead. Stanzione!
He looks a little happy, doesn't he? He's going to might run a lap around the track, too, while he's at it. Williamstown will go for 1 here. That's the signal from Fusatola, which would then put them up 8. Which means, tie's not out of the question still if you're Hammonton. So, it's not, I don't know why you wouldn't go for 2 here, honestly.
The kick is up, and the kick is good.
Well, you go for 1, you get it, you put it at least at 8. The worst that could happen is a tie. If you go for 2, you miss it, it's a 7-point game. Hammonton could conceivably come down, score, and then get the 2 and win the game, on that. So I guess you play it safe. You go up by 8. At least the worst thing that happens is it's a tie game.
Absolutely. Well, Stanzione with a fine run there. Stanzione able to shake off a tackle. Let's take a look.
And you saw a little fake. He faked the pitch. He brought the ball down and faked like he was going to flip it off to the right, and then saw some space and filled in right through that gap to the end zone.
Let's take a look at that throw from Stanzione.
And he just feather touch, flicked it out there. And this is one of those plays where you're in the huddle, you say, all right, guess what? You're going to go get this ball. And he threw it out there. Glenn, great job, got underneath it and made the catch. Great burst of speed to get to it. And like I said, it was kind of a foot race between Glenn and Winters, the safety for Hammonton. But Stanzione put it exactly where he needed to. And Glenn got underneath it and hauled it in.
Again, we credited the Hammonton offensive coordinator earlier in the game on their play action passes from Winters and the screen pass. Well, here you got to credit the Williamstown offensive coordinator calling a play that entails a play action pass, forcing the defense to bite on that. And again, with that 4-receiver set, it was just a case of Stanzione finding the open man. He found him in Glenn. Winters trying to close down on him, but not in time. Ball taken at the 30-yard line. Hammonton will return it all the way back to the 44, and they will have their best field position of the second half. A lot of time left, 5 minutes and 44 seconds. This is a Hammonton team, as we have seen readily on display. They like to pound the football, but they trail by 8. The best they can do is tie this football game.
And really, if you're Hammonton now, you don't change. Look, we had great success running the football before. We can do it again. We've got 5 minutes and now 44 seconds to go. Not a lot of distance. I mean, you got great field position at the 44. Play your game.
Pitch. And falling down on the play. Really not a whole lot there. Again, kind of interesting going away from Bernard once again and not paying dividends, a loss of 3 yards.
It was Isaac Flores, 23. I think they're on the carry. A little end around action. And I think more so than anything, it keeps Williamstown's defense off balance a little bit, and they can't just think, hey, Hammonton's just going to jam it right down our throats. It gives it another little look.
Bevan, your quarterback, so Winters will split out wide right. Bevins will roll to his right, throws the ball, has his man. It's Winters, and he's slung out of bounds about 2 yards shy. So you can see that if they're going to throw the football, or at least in a must-throw situation, they're going to go to Bevan.
Yeah, interesting. It's an interesting little setup because
they had that connection earlier, except in reverse. It was Winters to Bevins for the touchdown.
Right.
3rd down and 3.
But now you're going to see Winters go back to the quarterback spot. No, Bevins again. No, we have Winters under center this time.
Handoff right up the middle, and it will depend on the spot. It looks like he may have gotten enough. I think that's a 1st down. It should be, yes. Now look, they're going to measure, but the stick is before the mark, and the football is being split by the mark. It seems pretty cut and dry.
So 1st down it is. Hammonton on the move.
4:36 remaining. And Hammonton now across midfield.
And again, it's Winters under center.
Handoff, Bernard, cut down. Pick up of about a yard. This Williamstown defense keying on Bernard. And
Eric Smith again.
it is Bevan now underneath center. Winters split wide. They're at the bottom of your screen wearing number 1. You see Bernard in the backfield. Now Winters will come in tighter. 2nd and 9. Clock continues to move. Bevan, deep drop, throws across the middle. It's caught at the 35-yard line. And it is Salas Mays who has enough for the first down.
He spun away, took a knee, and I see one of the coaches for Williamstown on the sideline kind of frustrated there. I thought I saw a Hammonton player start a little early. Maybe that's what he observed as well.
First down and 10 to go.
Again, the clock continues to move here. It is Bevan working out of the shotgun. Bevan will roll to his right. Out of the pocket, he will keep. Bevan angling towards the sideline, and he has stood up and hit. Drives forward. He'll pick up about 5.
And that's, if you're Hammonton, that's fine. 5 yards, still plenty of time. 3:25 left to go as the clock continues to move. But it's, you know, no worries. You're at the 31 now. Plenty of time. Not a lot of real estate left to get you there. And Bevan's a great decision. He figured no sense chucking it into some traffic, and there was some room. He took it.
Bevan now, empty backfield. Bernard splits right. Bevan gets a rush, throws it underneath, and it's caught. Good throw and catch. Be about a yard shy of the first down. Bevan finding Salas Mays.
Eric Smith was right up in Bevan's face, too, and Bevan almost threw it right between his arms, it looked like, from up here.
So Winters, again, will split wide left. It's Bernard in the backfield with Bevan. Third down and 1. Bevan keeps. A lot of room here. Bevan into the secondary, and he trips himself up. Falls down at the 20-yard line. It looks like he may have a knee issue. That's just
horrible.
terrible to see.
That's a shame. Wow, that was terrible. You saw he just kind of crumbled there. As soon as he crossed right around the 20. That's a shame.
Well, that's a big loss for Hammonton. And you
see
see
it.
he's running, and it just
Right there.
simply
Wow.
goes on him.
Oh, that's a shame. Man, Josh Bevan came in here. Came into today. He had 4 catches for 69 yards and a touchdown this season. He had thrown 3 passes this season. Connected on 1 for 39 yards. It was a touchdown to Winters, the normal starting quarterback. And he has made a ton of great plays here on this drive, and you just feel for the kid. Senior, 6'1", 205. He's, out here in his final season. Hopefully, at least, I can't see him coming back into this one, but hopefully he'll get an opportunity to take the field again for this Hammonton team. He also plays defensive end on the other side of the football with 18 total tackles coming into this one.
Well, you would assume that Winters will come back and captain this offense. You see Bevan being helped to his feet.
Hopefully it was maybe just something that tweaked and he crumbled and thought, oh, man, sometimes it feels worse in there than maybe what really happens, but I don't know. I can't see him coming back into this game.
Well, he's still
Just to be on the
certainly
safe side.
favoring his one leg.
Yeah.
Well, first down and 10 for Hammonton. We'll see how they respond here. Obviously a key loss in a critical situation. The clock starts once again inside of 2:20 left in this fourth quarter. Winters with 4 receivers. Winters, deep drop. Waiting. Outside the pocket, throws it up, and that falls incomplete. Just looked like he was trying to unload that wisely.
Yeah, that play kind of seemed to just go nowhere. Winters was rolling out to his right and just kept rolling, and there wasn't really anything developing down the field. Once you get out of the pocket, just chuck it out of bounds.
A little surprised that they had Winters throwing the ball there. Obviously, they telegraphed the fact that he was going to throw the ball with an empty set. You got 2 minutes and 20 seconds left, ball at the 20-yard line. An opportunity to continue to run the ball successfully. I know that Williamstown has been successful and their defense has stood up in this second half, but it's an opportunity to kind of pound it with Bernard. Instead, they opted to throw the ball with Winter, and that fall incomplete. So 2nd down and 10. It's going to be Bernard, who fakes the handoff. It's Winters stretching it outside. Winters, and he will just simply be thrown out of bounds.
Yeah, that one didn't fool anybody.
Now you're in a must-throw situation, you have to believe.
Well, you're looking at 3rd and about 13 here, and it's 4-down territory anyway. So again, we talked about this earlier on. 7.7 yards a carry. You get 7 here, you get another 7, and you got a 1st down. You're playing this for 13 yards on 2 plays.
Yes.
You don't have to get it all in one. You've got 2 plays to get the football from the 23 to about the 10. So that's the plan here, and they're going to call timeout to talk it over.
So Hammonton will be charged with their first timeout. They have 2 remaining, 1:54 remaining, 3rd down and 13 at the 23-yard line. Just to recap, in the second half, Mercado and Stanzione with 10-yard touchdown runs each. And that's the difference right now, 29-21. Williamstown started the game trailing 14-0. Hammonton started with a Winters to Bevan pass.
Whoa.
And then Winters with a return of 42 yards to put them on top 14-0. Since that time, Hammonton has been outscored 29-7. So Bevan's checking back into the game. Question as to how much mobility he has. Certainly appreciably more than he had a few moments ago, but Bevan will be challenged on whether he's driving off that leg or planning on that leg.
I'm so glad to see him go in the game, though. I mean, that really looked like he was in a bad spot, but he's back in there.
So Bernard in the backfield. 3rd down and 13. As you said, Michael, you do not need to get 13 yards here.
But with Bevan, it's in a different dimension.
Bevan, it's hit, throws it up, and it is intercepted. Intercepted down the sideline. Breaking tackles across midfield. It's Stanzione. Stanzione still on his feet. Stanzione all the way down the end zone. Touchdown.
About 80 yards on the return. There is a flag down there, though, in the center of the field, but I'm thinking it's against the offense.
And it looks like it will, in fact, be against Hammonton.
Frank Fusato's out there telling them, I'm going to decline the penalty. They didn't make a call yet, but he's out there waving his arms saying he's going to decline the penalty.
Well, Bevan, perhaps it was his lack of mobility that hurt him there. He had the big rush put on by Williamstown, could not elude them, and just threw it up for grabs. Stanzione came away the hero.
And I almost wonder if they could have said Bevan was already in the grasp because he was hit and stopped, but he was able to recover and chuck it, and then bad things ensued for Hammonton.
And a point after is up, and it's good. Well, Hammonton now extends their lead to 15. Here's Bevan. And again, they're setting up the screen pass, but it was stopped. They were looking for Winters. Stanzione wins the jump ball.
Heck of a play by Stanzione, too. Gets up there, one hand, makes the grab, shakes a tackle, spins away from another guy there. Look at him shift the ball, too, to the outside hand. You see that? Now, that's some smart football. He puts it on the outside hand. Nobody's going to punch it away from him. And then, of course, Bernard slips, and Stanzione's able to finish it off.
Well, we mentioned Hammonton came out strong, 14-0 lead, but since that time, the Braves have outscored the Blue Devils 36-7. And barring a miracle, Hammonton will fall from the ranks of the undefeated.
Yeah, 7-0 coming in. There's still going to be a game ahead in Group 4. The next closest team is Shawnee at 4-2. So Hammonton won't lose any seeding in terms of where they stand in power points. They'll still be number 1 in Group 4 and still have the top seed with a week to go. Williamstown, this will help them, of course. But again, they're in Group 5 playing a Group 4 team, so they're going to go to 7-1. Lenape is ahead of them in the PowerPoint standings, as is Toms River North. But this win might help Williamstown's cause, maybe leapfrog over Toms River North for that number 2 spot. Because you got to believe the PowerPoints out of this are going to be pretty good. You're beating an undefeated team, the top seed in Group 4. Don't know who Toms River North plays this week out there in Ocean County. Funny that this game between Hammonton in the West Jersey Football League National and Williamstown in the West Jersey Football League American Division, none of the games this week with any of the teams in the 2 divisions affect actually the standings in either division. Rancocas Valley's at Cherokee, that's a non-division game. Delsey and Triton, a non-division game this week. Cherry Hill West at Clearview, another non-division game. Trenton at Eastern, Kingsway at Paula 6, Pennsauken at Washington Township, Seneca at Shawnee, Timber Creek at Morristown, and Lenape at Cherry Hill East. None of those games affecting the standings this week, but basically will help teams line themselves up for the playoffs.
Williamstown to kick it away, 91 seconds remaining. And there will be a party here in Williamstown, and it's not just because of Halloween. Looks like we're going to have another offsides call here, so this will come back. This is how the game started. Just fittingly, this will be how it ends, essentially. Williamstown, their only loss to a very good Cherokee team. And as we mentioned before, don't be surprised if we see those 2 teams going head-to-head once again.
If they do, it would probably be in the second round, because Cherokee is a top 4 seed right now in Group 5 as well. So it would have to be maybe, down the line. It wouldn't be a first-round game. It might be a semifinal or final, perhaps.
Right. Undoubtedly, the Blue Devils and head coach Jim Rouse are going to be very disappointed. They're going to feel like this is a game that they could have and maybe should have won, and they just allowed things to get away from them. And, oftentimes success stems from adversity, and they certainly will have their adversity after tonight. Coach Rasso felt very good about the week of practice that they had this past week, said there would not be a letdown, and I don't think there was a letdown. You have to credit this Williamstown team.
Oh, absolutely. A great response by Williamstown after getting down 14-0. Just didn't change things. Stayed the course, played their game, and the defense is what rose to the occasion tonight for Williamstown. I think you got to give credit to that side of the football for the Braves. The offense got the points, but I think the defense was kind of keyed it, because Williamstown had great field position a lot of the time tonight, Rob, and that's a credit to the defense.
1st and 10, winners will hand it off to Bernard. Bernard will fall forward. He'll pick up about 5 or 6. And not a tremendous amount of alacrity illustrated here by Hammonton. They're content to call it a day and regroup for next week against an excellent Timber Creek team, a team that many people thought may be the best team in South Jersey before the season started.
Timber Creek always with great athletes over there. They've got guys playing all over the country that are graduates in different colleges.
Short gain there. They'll bring up a 3rd down, and the clock continues to run. The likelihood is that this will be the last play of the game. just looking to the sideline to see whether or not they have to run an additional play. I believe they will. Well, we've had some outstanding football games for you, and tonight was certainly another one. Williamstown victorious 36-21. We'll have great football for you again next week on the Atlantic City Electric Game of the Week. We'll talk some more about that later. Stick around for post-game interviews and a wrap. Your final score, Williamstown 36, Hammonton 21. Welcome back to Williamstown High School. The Braves of Williamstown victorious over Hammonton 36-21. Rob Christ here with winning head coach Frank Fusatella. And coach, just a tremendous win. We expected a great football game. You guys certainly didn't disappoint it. You know, obviously coming into tonight, you had to feel like you had an excellent football team, but you knew that you were up for a tough test tonight against a solid Hammonton team.
Absolutely. We knew from watching them all year that they were just an outstanding football team, well coached. Kids play well. They got a lot of heart. I'm just so proud of our kids tonight, what they did.
One of the things you talked about with your team is that this was a tremendous character win. I mean, obviously falling behind 14-0 and coming back, they showed great resiliency. They believed in themselves, and that's something that should pay off dividends come playoff time.
Absolutely. You know, when you fall behind, 14-0 against a team of Hammonton's caliber and just hang in there, respond, and just keep fighting. And the kids, I can't say enough for the character they showed and just being so compassionate for the football game.
You know, during the game, we talked a little bit about just what quality defensive teams both of these teams were. Talk a little bit about your defense here, because I think that kind of gets lost in the final score.
Oh, absolutely. The defensive, I didn't think we played real good special teams at time. It put our defense in the hole, especially early in the game, okay? And we responded defensively, and, the second half shutting them down and doing things right was just tremendous for our coaching staff, our defensive coaches, our defense coordinator, Coach Seidenberg, and his whole staff, and just a total picture of everybody putting it all together today.
As we mentioned, you started the game trailing 14-0. You come back and score 36 of the 43 points thereafter. What adjustments, what was the conversation at halftime?
We knew we could move the football. We didn't have to punt the first half, okay? The two series that we had, we scored. We knew we could move the football. We just had to stop them. A tremendous job at halftime, making defensive adjustments. I just can't say enough for the defensive staff. And just going back on the other side of football, offensive staff, the adjustments they made and putting those points on the board. And that play by Rich Stanzione in the game was incredible.
Well, you talk about Stanzione, obviously the player of the game. I mean, had a tremendous day. But maybe the biggest call I felt was you kind of went to a four-receiver set. I didn't see that the whole night. Then you play-action pass, threw it to Glenn. Did you see something in the Hammonton defense?
Well, we took a shot. We saw him cheating. We did a tremendous play fake between Mercado and Richie, and the corner bit, okay, and we just had to get the ball to him, catch it, and give the ball in great field position.
Now, obviously, offensively, you have a three-pronged attack. I mean, Stanzione illustrated his value, but you have Glenn back there along with Early. Both of them banged up a little bit, but they really showed their mettle. Talk about just what they bring to the table.
They just bring, it's not really three, it's four. We got Mercado, we got Stanzione, we got Early, got Glenn. It's that four-headed monster back there. And if I'm scouting Williamstown, I'm a little concerned about what they got in the backfield. They're dangerous. We got speed. Okay, they block for each other. They play hard and do things right.
Well, you talk about scouting to play this Williamstown team. Obviously, we look ahead, playoff time. This is a team that believes in itself, obviously, coming off of a big win tonight against Hammonton. You tend to keep the ball on the ground. Do you have any concerns about having to play from behind? Should you have to do that in the playoffs?
Not necessarily. We like, obviously, to score right away. But we feel it's showing tonight 14-0. We can throw the ball. We throw it when we want to throw the football. You're not going to force our hand when we have to throw it. The thing is, we just can't fall behind early game like that again because, a really good team, not saying Hammonton's not a good team. They're a very good team, but it could hurt us down the road.
How do you approach the rest of the season? Obviously, this is a win that, whenever you have a win like this, for you personally as a coach, I know that you're a Hammonton guy. That's a big win for you. But more importantly, the high school kids kids, they recognized how big of a game this is. How do you get them prepared for the next week and for the playoffs to ensure that they don't have a letdown?
Well, the key thing is we stressed what's going to help us for next week is that's our bye week next week, all right? We get these little nicks and bruises, healed right away, get back in the weight room. Instead of going 2 days next week, we're going to go 3 days. Keep our conditioning, go back also in the classroom, the grades and everything, adjusting all their class grades and everything and doing it right. And, we're looking forward. We need a week off. We went 8 in a row. Some great caliber teams, and we're looking forward to who we got to play. I know one thing, they're coming to our house.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're looking forward to watching you play. A tremendous win. Congratulations. Our own Mike Shute has our player of the game, Rich Stanzione.
We're with the quarterback, Rich Stanzione, and the quarterback and the defensive back, because he did a little bit of both today. After the game got done, you're over there talking to the teammate. Well, the coach was talking. You stood up and had a couple things to say because you wanted to tell those guys you appreciated them having your back. Talk about that a little bit and what it meant, because you gave up a pick six, but then you got one back.
Yeah. Well, no, like I said, like you said, I had to address the team. When we were down 14-0, I really thought it was partly my fault. Pick six early against number 2 team in South Jersey, that's definitely degrading, but never once did they get down on me, never once did they doubt me. So I really just thank them, because it's usually as a quarterback, usually as a leader, you're the team bringing the people up, but honestly, they brought me up. And then I was able to get the outcome that we wanted.
Is that kind of something that is an overlying factor with this team? You guys have each other's back a lot, and it's a team that kind of looks out for each other. Every
day we break it down as family, and it's the best family I have. Really, I love my family, of course, but it's a true family here. It really is. I don't think many programs can truly say family and really mean it, but I feel like no matter what, outside of football, they have my back no matter what.
And talk about a little bit about the interception late in the game there. It's still within reach for Hammonton. They're only down 8. They get the play kind of breaks down there a little bit. They throw it up. You're able to make the interception and then get the winding return back to the end zone. Just talk about that play and how that kind of sealed this thing up.
Well, first to start with the pressure, I have to watch the film. I don't know who got the pressure on the quarterback. Well, all I remember was the other Hammonton's coach saying, just throw it. I guess they didn't want to run, had the clock running. Mm-hmm. Threw it up. Honestly, I thought it was going in my head.
Right.
So I got it, and then there was people in front of me, people blocking downfield. No matter what, the team's always hustling. It doesn't matter who gets the pick. There's a bunch of people blocking for it. They don't care who gets the credit. They just want the win.
And you talk about family. During the game, we showed the back of the helmet, number 62.
Yes.
Talk about Darius Boyer and how you guys are still kind of playing for him.
He's always with us. Every day, along with family, we break down states for Boyer, and it's not just saying; it's a mindset. We truly want to keep his name alive, and every day he's watching over us, and he allows us to do things like this, not beat the number 2 team. There's just blessings all over the place, and I really want to just keep making him proud. We want to keep making him proud up there.
I noticed that after a couple guys scored touchdowns, everybody's kind of pointing up. Is that a tribute to Darius as well?
Of course. Our team's really faithful. We have a strong faith in God, and also we believe he's up there, so we always want to just thank God and thank him.
Well, good luck to you, Rich Stanzione, the rest of the way. Congratulations. Williamstown sitting pretty in the Group 5 standings.
Sure.
All right.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right.
Have a good night.
Thank you. And we'll bring Rob Chris back in as well. And Rob, the coach had some great things to say out there after the game, and it was interesting to see the quarterback step up and talk to his teammates as well.
Well, it's interesting because he talked about family. I'm not sure that his family is going to be real happy when they hear that this family is more important than theirs, but I'm sure he didn't mean that wholeheartedly. But nonetheless, Stanzione comes over from Washington Township, and it means a lot to him because obviously he was welcomed with open arms, and he feels a part of brave country, if you will. And it's important. I think one of the things that's generally overlooked in sports is just the sense of community within a team. I'm a big believer in team chemistry, and it seems like they have it here.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's we saw a little bit of everything tonight. We knew these two teams' strengths were both in the running game, both with over 1,800 yards on the season, both averaging well over 260 yards a game on the ground. But the passing game played a big factor as well, with Williamstown able to make a couple of plays that changed the game.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting, actually. You think about the way that the game played out, and Stanzione throws a pick six to the opposing quarterback, who then gets a pick six, Stanzione does, in the second half from the opposing quarterback. It wasn't winners in this case, but, we talked about their success on the ground, you could see why that's the case. They weren't necessarily strong through the air. They were successful through the air. That doesn't mean they were strong through the air.
Yeah, both teams. And, you're going to see both these teams in the playoffs in the postseason. I mean, Hammonton, it's a loss, but they're still well in front in the top seed in Group 4. Williamstown's now in a nice spot in Group 5. They're either going to be probably the 1 or 2 now, the way seedings are. But, there's still another week to go, so things can happen and things can change again. But as Coach Fusatolo said, the playoffs are going to go through Williamstown at some point, so they're going to have at least one home game.
And you could see just how important that was. They certainly fed off this crowd. Even Coach Fusatolo fed off this crowd. We mentioned before that Coach Fusatolo is a Hammonton native. He's someone who coached the opposing coach, Jim Rasso, when he was a Hammonton Hawk in youth football. So this one meant a lot to him personally and obviously to the community as a whole. It was a great game, and it was, of course, Williamstown bouncing back from a 14-0 deficit to come back and win it 36-21. For my partner, Mike Shute, my director, Stan Ritter, and all the crew, I'm Rob Chris. Thanks for joining us. Good night, everybody.